Hello everyone. Welcome back. My name is Cassidy or Starr if you are new to this channel. And today I have another message from the former Princess of Wales, Princess Diana. I'm going to preface this video with a trigger warning. I do know that this video is going to be involving some things that might be triggering for some. I'm going to say the word abuse. So you all might have some idea as to what this message might pertain. So abuse and consent. So just be warned of that. If you don't feel ready to be listening to something like this right now, you know, come back to it when it feels time and when you feel called to. Please bear with me also because I'm extremely tired today. As I mentioned before, that I've been doing lots in my astral time, and that means that, you know, I'm not really fully resting even when I'm inverted commas asleep. So yeah, I'm feeling it today, so please bear with me with the channeling of this. And also this is quite triggering for me, and you know, I don't know what's going to be said, so there might be some sort of disconnect sometimes when I'm trying to channel this message, just because yeah, it's quite a big topic to be delving into and, you know, holding space for, so please be patient with me in that. But yeah, I'm just going to let her come in. It feels like that it's just time. I hope that everyone is well, and yeah, just be mindful that this is going to be a video on abuse and consent, so just make sure you are ready to hear something like that. But give me a moment and I will bring Princess Diana in. Hello, dear souls. It is with a heavy heart that I feel like I need to share my story today. I know that some of you watching this are not new to this. This will not be something that you haven't heard before. This will not be something that you perhaps have experienced in your own life. I want to talk today about what it means to be a wife, what it means to be in a connection with someone else, what it means to be intimate with another human being. We are still seeing this being questioned time and time again on the planet right now, and this is something that is causing much pain and distress to many of you. Many of you watching this are going to be triggered in ways that you perhaps weren't first aware of. This is going to trigger you to understand perhaps where you might have been using someone else, where you might be abusing your own power over another. To be in a deep connection with someone, like marriage, does not mean you own another person. They too have their own soul and should be free. They are not bound to you by ring, by vows. You do not own any other soul. Every soul is sovereign, and they deserve to appreciate all of themselves as such. My sovereignty was questioned every day of my life. I realized how much I was suppressed, how much I was used, how much I was manipulated for another's personal interests. I felt a great pressure to perform, to be someone that I just was not. I tried my best to fight back and be myself. But in terms of behind closed doors, I shrank. I stopped speaking. I had nowhere to turn and no one to talk to. No one wanted to listen to me. I was just a silly girl that didn't know how things worked. This was heartbreaking at the time. I did not have a right to say no to anything. I hope you understand what I'm inferring with this. It's a wife's duty to please her husband. This is something that is still happening to this day. And it needs to stop. You are not here to please another. Just because someone wants something from you does not mean that they have a right to take it from you. No matter how long you've known them, no matter how many years you've been together, if you do not want to do something, you must say no. And that other soul must listen and hear you. You must not feel pressured to do things you do not want to do. You must not feel pressured to behave in certain ways to suit another person. This is not true love. This is not true intimacy and connection. This is not how it should be working right now on this planet. I think some of you watching this, your heart has just sank. You understand where you have fell victim to this thought process, where you may have pressured another, where may you have rolled over and just said yes, even though it was not your true heart's desire. We are perpetuating a cycle of greed, necessity, neediness. We want to control and contain others. This is what we are being taught. This is how the darkness is winning and sinking in and seeping in through every facet of our lives. We need to make changes, and we need to make them now. Please think about yourself and how you behave. If you are in a close connection to another, or in an intimate relationship, or having intimate relations with anyone else, think about your actions. How might you be looking out for one's own interest over another? We do this by not teaching true intimacy, by not teaching true heartfelt connection. We are taking universal love out of all equations, and we are living in fear. We are told to behave a certain way, otherwise we are not fulfilling our prophecies, our duties as a wife, our duties as a divine feminine to be attractive in certain ways. We're being taught to fear not being in a connection with another, as if this lessens our soul's calling, as if this lessens us as a person, as a human, as an entity, however you resonate. And this is happening on both sides, all genders, nondescripts. We are pressuring others to behave in certain ways to gratify ourselves. Please really stop to think about how you are behaving and interacting with others, because it is having such a detrimental effect on the universal consciousness and energetic field at this time. Humans are growing more sensitive by the day, and this is for a purpose. We are trying to balance the energies that have been so out of balance for so long. Be mindful of this. Be mindful of what stories you've told yourself, what stories you've been taught. This is being passed down through generation to generation. This is something that I was told time and time again. This is just how it works around here. You better get used to it. You don't understand. You can't say no. You can't say that. Stop being so ridiculous. I heard all of these statements to myself, to my children, time and time and time again. And I hear you say it to the ones you love too. This needs to stop. This is not pointing finger or blame at one over another, at one gender over another. It is all sides of all coins, of all shapes. We are not taught true unconditional love for another. We need to connect back into our soul space, into our heart space, to truly understand how we are perpetuating these dark cycles. What are we teaching our children? Is there enough education and intimacy and true heartfelt connection? We are not treating our bodies as sacred. We are not treating our souls as pure, as full of light. We are dampened by media, by those that wish to control us. Do you not see? There's a larger plan at play here. We are suppressing those that are most sensitive. We are suppressing those that are truly most powerful, those that can birth a life. Some of us are seen purely as a baby factory. We are not allowed to feel pleasure. That is wrong. We are not allowed to express our own sexual desires. That is wrong. Yet if we withhold it, we are not behaving as we should. We are not honoring our bodies, apparently. Are we just here to be ogled at or to be suppressed? There has to be a balance. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. You hear it day in, day out. Read it, see it, media, newspapers, advertisements. It is all here to trap you, to stop you from feeling true love, true connection, true intimacy, true passion, true desire. We are fearing loss because we are told it is unacceptable to be alone. You don't want to end up alone without a husband. A woman is nothing without a family. You shouldn't dress like that. Why won't you wear this for me? Why won't you do this for me? Manipulation is a weapon. Please make sure you are aware of your true feelings. If you do not know yourself, then you are easily manipulated by another. This is something that gets missed time and time again. This is why we are teaching sovereignty. This is why we are teaching getting to know oneself at a soul level, at a cellular level. Who are you? What do you truly desire? What do you need? What are your needs? We should be looking at one another, brother, sister, male, female, however you identify as a loving entity. We should be treating each other equally and seeing each other whole as one within ourselves, and also seeing that being is purely a reflection of ourselves too. We are not telling others when to stop through fear. We are not telling others we feel uncomfortable out of fear. We are training each other to just accept things as they are and just keep going as they are. This must stop. Please think about your life, all you've experienced, and how can you be a lending ear to another? If you hear something you know that is wrong, speak up. Don't be afraid to say when you know and feel in your heart that something is wrong, something is out of balance. This is the only way we are going to change things. So be mindful. Be mindful of those around you. Be mindful of how you are acting with others at this time. There is so much that needs to be changed, and we are going to make it step by step, day by day. But truly think on this topic. How have you been perpetuating this cycle? Be honest with yourself. I'm going to leave it there for today. Please take care of self and ponder what I have shared with you. I say all this with the utmost amount of love, because I do not want others to be suffering as they are now. Some of you are experiencing this in your life right now. Say no. Stand up. Surround yourself with people that you know will protect you. Call out to those that you know will protect you. Light beings and beyond. It's time to make those great changes. And it's time to start today. With love. I knew it was going to be a heavy message today, and definitely something that has been coming up for me in my healing journey, and I was guided to talk about intimacy and that realm from quite early on in my ascension process, sharing information, and I was wondering why, and I think it's because that wound is still so deep, and I had to really comb through my own life and see where I had perpetuated cycles like that, where I'd put other people in situations and scenarios where they potentially felt uncomfortable. You know, it works both ways, and I was realizing that my unhealed wounds were seeping out through me into other people in that realm. I was thinking about how do I word this? I was thinking about my own needs over another, and then also, thinking of someone else's needs over mine, and not saying no when I perhaps should have. And I think that that's a tough pill to swallow, and I think it's always been quite shocking, but also not shocking, that when this topic comes up time and time again with different groups of people that I've met over the years, and you know, I'm in a group of women, and we all sort of start to discuss situations where we felt uncomfortable but still carried on anyway, where we perhaps wanted to say no but didn't for whatever reason. And it's quite painful when you sit and hear that everyone has a story like that, and that needs to stop. And I think that this is causing a great rife between the sexes right now, and I think that it's causing a great wound that is going to take some time to heal. And I think we all have to be really honest with ourselves and make sure we are giving ourselves the time to take ownership for our own actions, to heal where we might have done wrong in the past. You can't smooth over anything in this journey. You have to go back and ask for forgiveness. You have to say you're sorry. You have to acknowledge where you've gone wrong. And that takes courage, you know, that takes courage to say, I'm ashamed I behaved in that way and I'm sorry. And now there's some people that we can't go back and say sorry to, you know. Sometimes the situations and times have moved on where people just aren't in our lives anymore. And there's a great practice, it's called the Ho'oponopono practice. And that originates from Hawaii. And I'll put a little link to a post that I've created on there. And it's a practice in where you say, send out love, send out sorry, ask for forgiveness on an energetic level, and that helps heal the past, present, and the future all at the same time. But I think that this is a tough lesson that we all need to be honest about and be open to healing within ourselves, within others. I think that the younger generations are getting there, and there is a lot more space for open conversation than I think that there was, particularly when I was growing up, so in the 90s. I think things have opened up a lot more, but I definitely think that there's room to improve in conversation and making safe spaces for people to converse about their feelings on everything, and allowing people to share their experiences and share their point of view. There is always 2, 4, 5, 6 sides to a story, and that's definitely something that I've learned on this journey. My reality is not someone else's reality. I can be in the same room hearing the same thing, having a conversation with someone, but someone else's point of view can be so different from my own, and you have to accept that as their reality and hear them out, hear their side of the story, let them say what they need to say, and accept that, and apologize where it's due, and take ownership and hold your hands up and say, I'm sorry for that, I shouldn't have behaved in that way. And I think a lot of us do things, again, what we are taught out of habit, and also energetically as a collective. I think we've just all built this ideology of things that we believe is just the way, and we're really having to rewind time and say, okay, what is our baseline for all of these tough topics now? What do we want to do moving forward? How might we be actually toxic right now in what we have perceived to be the way that things are? And I really had to take ownership for my own actions and, see where I'd hurt people, because I just wasn't, A, thinking clearly because I was in pain, 2, things that I've been taught I didn't even know was wrong because that was my experience and that is all that I was experiencing. So I perpetuated that onto others. And, I think there's a lot to be said for making sure we are teaching the right things to people that are young at this time, and allowing them space for questions and for us to be able to answer in our fullest heart, in our fullest light of love, and to have those tough conversations with those that we love, and say when we feel uncomfortable, say when we feel like we're not being heard, and to speak up. I think it takes such courage to speak up, to speak out. So honor yourself in that space. And I think that maybe this message is going to take some of you by surprise, because I think it's going to dawn on you just perhaps where you might have been perpetuating a cycle like this. And I myself had to face this, getting quite personal, but I definitely was sexually active too young. I definitely found myself in situations and scenarios that I know that I carried on into my adult life, and changed other people's perception of intimacy and connection because of the space that I was in. And I didn't realize how damaging that potentially was to others, how damaging that was to myself. To be, some things are a form of self-harm that you don't even realize at the time, because you don't see how in pain you are, why you want certain things or feel like you do, or you are connecting in such a disconnected way. I realized that sexuality, intimacy, and my emotions were just two very separate things, and now I see how damaging that was to me and my soul and my vessel. I was very disconnected from my emotions. I was very much using sex as a weapon and a tool at some point in my life as well. I have to admit to that. So maybe you find yourself in that space or have done in the past. And, you know, we have to heal those wounds within ourselves. And I really had to take a step back and rewire my thinking of how I perceived my vessel, how I perceived intimacy, sexuality, and connection, and where I was coming at a space not of a loving space, not of an intimate and heartfelt space. And I've had to retrain myself to love, to be able to understand intimacy in such a deeper and profound level. And maybe that's where you are. You know, this doesn't stop no matter what age you are. It's always room for improvement and for growth. And I think that that's what Diana's sort of saying, is that over the years, through the generations, we've just been perpetuating this cycle of not hearing each other out, not listening to each other. And it's time to start listening to each other and to be speaking up and speaking out and opening up space for discussion in these areas. Now, obviously, this is a very sensitive subject, and I've really tried to be as impartial as I could, and, you know, sharing intimate sides of myself and my journey in my life. So please be mindful of myself and others in comments. If people do comment, please. And I think it's just time to be really honest with ourselves, because that's the only way we're going to have space to grow and to expand and to acknowledge one another and see one another and accept apologies and accept our own mistakes and forgive ourselves. This is about deep forgiveness of self, of others, because, you know, I've said this time and time again, and I still believe it to be true, but hurt people, and that's what perpetuates the cycle. So if we can open up discussion to hear each other out with compassion and allow a safe space for that, then I think that's where we're going to prosper. Moving forward, I definitely want to start opening space for us to come together to discuss these types of things and to have a healing space in that. So if you do have any questions or any ideas of how you might want healing in that space, please do let us know, because we're trying to cater to everyone and everyone's needs. And if you feel like, you know, there is a specific wound that you would like us to focus on in terms of meditations and energy work, please do reach out to us and let us know. I have listed our services at the bottom below. We are now starting to take on what's the word I'm looking for? Take on, we are open for business is what I'm trying to say. So please do reach out to us and just be mindful of yourself in this space. It was a heavy message, and I will be back soon when it's feeling called to. I don't think there'll be a message tomorrow. So hopefully over the weekend, but if not, go well, have an amazing weekend, and be really kind to self with this message. We'll be back soon. Take care.